That means we're live.
What's up, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing, bud?
Good, man. How are you?
Good to see you. Look at this setting you've got us all set up in, man.
Hey, it wasn't just me. It was a team effort, bro.
No, I'm just saying, like, every week I feel like you just keep taking us to the next level, man.
I like the accents, man. The accent lights look really nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. It looks good. It looks good.
How's your week, dude?
My week was good. I have I had a really good event this week. I had to think back for a second. Actually, I had two really good events this weekend. There was a lot of fun, man. So we really enjoyed that. It's still a little bit interesting because one of the events that I did, they were very adamant about people wearing masks for the whole event, which is cool, and I think it's a smart thing. And the other one was the complete opposite. They didn't want anybody to wear masks.
Was that on Friday night?
Yeah. So it was one of those things where flip flop, but I think we're all going to continue to see that for a while.
Definitely.
And I think that the best thing that anybody can do is just do what's best for themselves, do what they believe in, do what they feel is the right thing to do. I'm never here to judge anybody, and it's all good. What about your week?
Man, it was great. Like you said, like we had some events and they were really awesome. Oh, there he goes, Matt. You want to throw that comment up there?
Oh yeah. Thank you, Matt. Had to rock our Request Now shirts tonight, so thank you for those.
Appreciate you, bro.
There's our buddy Matt Peterson checking in. What's up, Matt? Our guest from last week. Good to have you, Matt. Thanks for checking in with us, bud.
But yeah, man, we have actually one more thing. Just I got together with our dude Shane Ryan.
Yeah,
and we got some good stuff coming up for some music videos. So
y'all are working on a music video.
Excited about that. That's new territory for me. I've never done a music. I did one music video. I guess we did for the Tom Petty thing. That was kind of like a music video, but this will be like a real music video. I'm super excited about it. So big shout to Shane Ryan.
So we got our first Facebook user comment here. And
hello,
hi, gentlemen.
How are you?
Hey, how are you? Just a reminder to everybody who's joining us tonight, if you'd like for us to see your face, your likeness, and your name, all you have to do is click on give StreamYard permission to show my face and name or whatever. It's in the bottom of the comment right above the video, and that way you'll be able to do that. We'll know who you are, and we won't have to call you Facebook user because we like to call you by your name, not by the moniker Facebook user. And I guess before we go any further, our traditional cheers. So...
yeah, let's open
so crack it open. And let's do our best not to spill it all over everything.
Well, let's have fun.
My dude, Dawson High, what's up?
Thanks for checking in, man.
Said he thought he had it set up, but he didn't. But now he does. It's all good. Man, thanks for checking in, brother. Good to have you guys. I think we're going to have a lot of fun people on tonight because they know who our guest is tonight. So I am, this has been... When I looked at, and I always feel like I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I don't give a shit. When I look at our list of guests that are coming up, it's almost like a sports team.
It is, yeah.
Like when the schedule comes out and you look at all these games you're playing, you like circle that one game where you're like, shit, I can't wait to get to that game. So tonight was that night for me. So I have been really excited to get to tonight.
Can't wait, man.
And I've been and again, I always say this, that is no knock whatsoever on our past guests because we have some really great guests and upcoming guests as well.
Yeah.
There's no knock on them whatsoever. But tonight, just for personal reasons, I was really, really excited about tonight. So but you and I worked an event this last weekend, and I will tell you guys, sometimes you realize how stressful events can be. And
man.
It was so we worked an event together. First of all, we had to drive 3 hours to get there. All right. Ernie, what's up?
Hey,
so we had to drive 3 hours to get to the event. And when we got there, setup was in a different place than we were originally told.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be inside. They moved us outside. Like every comedy of things that could happen were happening. And I think it's interesting. It's an interesting take on realizing that sometimes it's really good. And I had to do this for myself. Sometimes it's really good to just step away for a second, take a deep breath, remind yourself that it's not the client's fault that these things are happening. It's their day. You need to do what's best for them.
Right.
And at the end of the day, all these little kind of things that are happening to you, are they really that big of a deal?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think there was a lot of lessons learned, if you will, from that.
And that's for anyone in the industry as well. I mean, as a videographer as well, we just sometimes step back and just kind of reevaluate and just breathe. I think that's kind of the most important thing, is just to take a step back and look at the 10,000 foot view real quick. It'll definitely save you for sure.
Yep. Couldn't agree with you more. So, all
right.
right. Well, I think we've exhausted all of our
introduction,
all of this, that, and the other things here. So let's dive right into it. All right.
Let's do it.
You ready?
Let's bring her in.
I'm ready. So I'm going to introduce our guest, and I've gotten a little bit better at this. I've actually had our guests start sending me bios that I can tell you, everybody who's watching, about them.
Very nice.
Other than me just saying they're really cool and I really like them, and here they come. So here we go. Andrea Eppolito is a Las Vegas wedding planner who has dedicated her life to redefining what it means to get married in Las Vegas. And if you haven't been to Las Vegas, you got to go. It's an amazing place to go to.
Yeah.
Author of 2 books, host of a podcast and a YouTube channel, and an international educator, Andrea also offers courses and consulting services for wedding professionals, venues, and other hospitality organizations. Hopefully I read that well. So without further ado, we're going to invite our guest to join us tonight, Mrs. Andrea Eppolito.
Hi.
Hey, Andrea.
How's it going?
I'm so glad that you had like the short intro.
Right.
I thought about actually reading the long one, but I was like,
No.
I might screw that up totally, and I'm trying not to do that.
No, I'm so excited to be here. And this has been something that we've been looking forward to for a really, really long time. So I'm excited.
Well, part of my excitement in this is, number one, we first met each other at the collective in Arizona, and it was just amazing for me to listen to your passion for the industry and listen to just, I don't know, like you just the way you approach things. And then I picked up a copy of your book and I read that on the way home. And so it was just really neat for me to be able to kind of circle back to today and have you on our show. And we haven't had the honor to work together yet, but I hope one day, like I put that on my things that I want to do in 2021 when the world gets real again.
I love that.
Do an event with Andrea Eppolito. So hopefully we'll be able to pull that together one day.
That would be awesome. You know, it's funny because I only do 6 events a year.
Wow.
So my signature events, I typically do 6 a year. And I was speaking to a client today and they said, are you maintaining that for 2021? And I said, 2020 like copied and pasted into 2021. And so I think a few of them will fall off because they're international clients who aren't going to be able to travel to the States. But I think that next year I'll probably do about 10, maybe 10 events. Yeah. And my husband's like, maybe we could take on this or that. And I'm like, I just want to live through 2021. I want to do my 10 and run my businesses and not kill myself. But it's hard right now because I think we've all felt this disconnect to our clients. We felt our disconnect to the industry. We felt a disconnect to each other. And we so badly want to be together. We so badly want to do all the things that there's this feeling of like, we should take it all. We should do it all because we don't know when we're going to get to do it again. But I really believe that that's a mistake and that we have to continue to be selective and we have to continue to be really focused in terms of who are we as a business? Who are we for? Who are we not for? And why are we doing the work that we're doing? And if you can't answer those things, I think that it's a slippery slope in terms of finding out that you wake up in 2022 and you're something that you're not.
Yeah.
And that scares me for a lot of people.
Huge. That's huge.
That was powerful. That was a powerful statement.
Ernie says he misses your face. So
Ernie, Big Daddy, how you doing?
We hooked you up, Ernie. Now you can not only hear Andrea, but see her too. So good stuff there.
I love you guys.
I love that she's
the DJ community is like the best. You guys are there's something about like DJ video tech world that you guys are just on another level. And I think it's because you come from a place of being the underdog and being the thing that nobody comes in and is like, my biggest priority is the DJ.
Or the video, truthfully.
Or the video. And so those are the two things but everyone will turn around and it's the first thing they bitch about. The music sucked.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't, you had $500 for a DJ. So
right. Yeah.
What did you, like I could have gotten you an iPad for $399 and it would have been the same shit.
Yeah.
I think
so they don't want to invest in it, but then they complain.
Yeah, I think you make an incredible point. It's not a priority, but it always becomes the first problem. Wow, that's powerful. So profound.
Yeah.
Wow.
And going back to your point about the underdog, like you could take that back like macro to when I was like a teenager in AV, being a nerd, an absolute nerd. So yeah, for sure.
No doubt about it.
But
No
that's the
doubt
thing,
about it.
like, and how cool is the stuff that you guys do? And when they
Right.
see the finished product, everybody's always blown away. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's not like a highlight reel, it's a film, or it's not,
Yeah.
it wasn't just playing someone else's music. It was really like driving the dance floor.
Right.
Because I think there's a lack of understanding. I mean,
Sure.
up until I started going to the collective, I was like, I don't get it. You play other people's music. I had no idea
Yeah.
what went into the planning, the purchasing, the setup, the tear down, the reading the crowd and how you mix, and being able to come and be a speaker and then hang with you guys and get to know you guys has been fantastic for me, because it's given me the language that I need to explain what the differences are.
Yeah.
And why one DJ sets up a certain way, and why the equipment matters, and how come it's important to do this Q&A. And you guys, I would say that if there's any one segment of the industry that's taught me the most in the last 2 years, it's been the DJ tech kind of AV world. Has definitely taught me a lot.
That's
It's
awesome.
been
Yeah,
huge.
I think that's
Yeah.
incredible, and that's a testament
To you.
to getting together and
Yeah.
getting to. Ernie says we're only limited to our own creativity. Absolutely.
Yep,
I think it's a testament to us getting together and having those types of conversations.
100%.
A lot of times, like, I think those roles could be reversed too. Like, we don't always necessarily know all the right things, and that's to express about somebody who is helping create this amazing event. And I mean, if you guys haven't been to Andrea's, either her website or her Instagram, like, when you look at these things, you're like, holy shit, like, this is on another level. Like, this is awesome. And that just doesn't happen by accident. It's not like, just wake up one day and it just happens. We had another comment come in, experience and learning from the experts. Exactly.
But I was also going to say, David, it's a testament to Andrea, because she's taking the time to learn
Right.
other vendors' craft,
Right.
which is absolutely incredible of you. How many planners do you know who are so focused on the planning aspect that they can't, let me put myself in the DJ shoes, let me put myself in the videographer's shoes to really help understand it. And I think it almost probably helps you maybe do your job better. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure
it does. Somebody wrote me a comment the other day. I saw it last night, and it said, what kind of education do I need in order to be a wedding planner? And so I started scripting out my video. And one of the things that I talk about is, what do you need to be a wedding planner? You need a business license, you need insurance, you need a website. Like, it could, poof, you're a wedding planner. Good for you.
Yeah.
But if you want to be good, if
Right.
you want to be successful, because we typically are the helm of the ship, it's one of those things where people are like, oh, I don't want to say that because I don't want people to feel like I think I'm the boss. I am the boss.
Right.
Yeah.
This is my room. This is my show. This is my feelings. I create them. I'm responsible for everything that happens in that room. And in order for me to take that kind of responsibility, I need to understand who I'm inviting into the process, and I need to understand how they work. And how do you talk about the difference between, you and Digital Dave? How do I talk about the difference between you and Jason, or you and Brian?
Right.
It's the only way to do that is to have an understanding of how do they hear the music in their head? How do they shift the songs? How do they set their playlist? What do they bring to the table? Because if I can't speak intelligently about what it is that you do, and if I don't have a really good understanding of your business, then how am I selling you? I'm selling you based on price.
Yeah.
And now you're a commodity, and now nothing you do matters, because if I could get 1 for $5 and 1 for $4, then why not get 1 for $3? And all of a sudden you water down the process. Whereas now, instead, I can talk about how Brian sets up, and I could talk about how Jason runs his behind the scenes, and I could talk about how Dave Krieger likes to talk on the mic, which is something I couldn't do before. I could talk about it locally on a very small scale in terms of my Las Vegas community, but we're not limited to Vegas anymore. And the world has shrunk so much that I don't care where you live. I just care, are you the right person for this piece of business?
Yeah.
And if you are, you're just a flight away. So why not expand and have a better understanding and a better language to discuss what other people are doing and why a client needs to invest? Because the number doesn't mean anything until I can attach it to something.
Yeah.
And that's been a big part. But that was something I did even when I started, like when I opened Bellagio 21 years ago. I spent time in the video room, learning how are you guys cutting a video live as it happens so that people are, and I mean, I'm 2 days older than water, but they would leave and we'd give them a VHS cassette. Like,
wow.
Here's your VHS, because we were cutting, we had 3 cameras behind mirrors, and I never understood, like, how do you guys do that? So I spent a couple of months working behind the scenes, learning how to cut and edit video, learning when you wanted to go from the bride to the groom, and why do you need to have an establishing shot, and how does all that work? It was 21 years ago, but I still think about that when I'm designing a room going, what does that shot look like from behind? How does it, you know, if I put a tree there, are you going to be able to get a shot of the groom's face during his vows? And I think that if there's anything that really sets me apart, it's that I've worked in all of my partners' businesses, even if it's just for free, so that if I'm asking you to do something, or if I'm telling you to do something, it's because I've done it before and I've actually pulled it out myself. And so I'm not going to push you to a place that's going to break your business. I'm going to push you, but I'm not going to do anything that is so unheard of that it's going to damage the system.
That's solid. And I think 2 points come out of this. Number one, well, plenty of points, but 2 points that come to mind right away. First of all, is a take home from this is that if you're watching right now, and this is not the kind of conversations that you're having with the other folks that are in your market, at least, you should be proactive, and you should kind of be the first person to put that foot forward and say, hey, listen, you know, this is something I think we should do. And I want you to understand, or let me rephrase that. I want to understand your business. I want to understand how you do things so that I can better serve you, and together we can collectively better serve the client. Yeah. And then secondly, the what takeaway from that is that you use the analogy of being the captain of the ship, so to speak. I think it's really okay to be, if you've got a solid captain, it's okay to be kind of the first mate, sticking with this kind of analogy. Yeah. Like, it's okay to be a solid first mate, and together you're still, you know, commanding an amazing ship for this client, which ultimately should be the goal for all of us anyways. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, it's 2 things. I mean, I don't know sports analogies and I don't sail. So I'm like rolling with it here. I don't understand any of it.
That's okay.
But what I think about all the time is, like, I'm invited into these people's lives typically a year to a year and a half out. They don't know me. I'm a picture on Instagram. I'm a voice on a phone. The reality is I don't do anything. I don't cook the food. I don't make the centerpieces. I don't set the tables. I don't play the music. My entire job is to be a conduit and pull the right people together. I have a great vision, and I can see the world through, I can interpret your reality through my lens. And I do that on a bigger scale because I like things to be over the top. But if one person falls out, if the guy who cleans doesn't come and clean, if you blow a mic, if the lighting tech has an issue, any of those things, and it's a domino effect that I don't control. So I'm one part Cupid, one part HR, pulling together the right people, and it's always a puzzle going, how does this fit? Does this person get along with this person? Are they going to be in a room together for 12 hours, and is there going to be friction? And so that's a big deal when I'm team building. But before we went live, we were talking about the idea of, like, earning business and offering to work for free and offering to do all of these things. And as we're talking, I think that one of the things that would be interesting for somebody, instead of turning around and saying, hey, I'm going to come and I'm going to DJ for you for free, or I'm going to do video for free, invite somebody that you want to work with into your business and pull back the curtain and say, the only way you're going to understand why you should work with me, why I'm absolutely the best and only person to have a piece of your business every year, is for you to come behind the scenes and see what I do. And to let it be raw. Let them see the mistakes and how you fix them. Let them see the stress of having to move from inside to outside. And while the regular person is like, what's the big deal? You're standing here, you're standing there. Acoustically, it's different. Speaker-wise, it's different. Power-wise, it's different. Clothing-wise, it's different. And so let somebody like me, let a venue manager, let a planner, let a photographer see what it takes the week leading up. And to watch it, because their ability to sell it. Either you're going to be a hero and they're going to say, oh my God, this person is amazing, and I can't wait to work with them because I know that they'll die on the floor getting it right. Or they're going to go, okay. And if that's their response, that's not your partner anyway.
Yeah.
Because you want to be really obsessed about being together and working as a unit, because we're all so solitary in our businesses. Like I manage venues, my husband and I do consulting for them. And I always say to him, the nicest thing about it is I don't miss being an employee, but there are times where I miss being part of a team. And because I have such a small number of signature weddings every year, I don't get that team feeling all the time. So when I can build my dream team and I could say, I can't wait to work with this photographer, and I know that they've not worked with this video team, but they're just going to vibe, and our DJ is going to be amazing, and I have a sax player, and I'm layering all these things. That's my crew for 48 hours, 72 hours. It's like being on a movie set where you have this really intense trial by fire relationship, and then it's done. And the goal is to come back to it again and again so that you can work well together, because that's just a dance you perfect over time and over experience, having been in the same space. So I'm into it. I'm always into like building with other people.
No, I love that. I think all of those are really great points.
Point.
And those of you that are watching us, thank you very much for watching tonight. We are talking with event and wedding planner extraordinaire, Andrea Eppolito, and we encourage you guys to drop your comments, drop your questions if you have any in the comments section. We're definitely monitoring those, and we will address those as the night goes on and the conversation continues. Interestingly enough, I know if you read the write-up about this, we're talking about having a coach and people helping you with your business. And guys, I promise you, we are definitely going to be talking about that tonight. Definitely. I think that what we've talked about so far kind of stemmed, as Andrea mentioned, from our conversation off live before we came on tonight. But I think it's valuable information. I think it's really important to understand relationships, and in a way, this is kind of a coaching opportunity for everybody to say, hey, listen, if you're not doing this, you really should be doing this, and this is why. Coming from somebody who don't discredit the number 6 events, like don't discredit that whatsoever. Those of you guys that do hundreds of events all the time, we were kind of talking about that as well offline also. And I mean, the quantity and the amount of events that you do is irrelevant to the power or value of your business and you as an individual. So we have a comment come in here. Everyone needs a coach. Yep, absolutely. So
100%. We were talking about it. I'm a member of the BBC, which is the Business of Being Creative. It is a think tank of creative professionals that run businesses. And it's something that I've been involved in for about 4 years since the inception. It's run by Sean Lowe. And not only, it has taught me to think like a business and to operate much less as a hobbyist and much more as a legitimate business, which I think that sometimes if you're creative, if you use that side of your brain and your tendency is to go to the pretty or go to the look or to do that, you can almost lose the fact that this is a business. So I, as a person on the planet, I exist to create extraordinary moments for people who live extraordinary lives. My entire goal and my entire dream is to build these amazing experiences in these places for other people. That's what I do. My business exists to serve me. So I had to learn how to separate those. I had to learn how, especially when you're in the customer service place, everything, I want to say yes to everything. I really do. There's that thing that's like, can you do this wedding? I love your work. Oh my God, you love my work. I love that you love my work. Right. I want to do this. But then I have to stop and weigh that against, does this particular client serve my business? Right. Because if it's the wrong client and I'm doing the wrong business, then that breaks every other part of my life. Yeah. All of a sudden, I'm not being paid appropriately for the work that I'm doing, or the work that I'm creating and putting out there isn't on brand. I took it because they were nice and I was slow and maybe I needed the money or my kid wanted to do something and I was like, okay. And then I end up with a piece for my portfolio that I can't really show. And so I had to learn to understand that it's okay to run a business like a business and to be a creative, and that there were ways to do both of those. I also have a YouTube coach that my husband and I hired and brought in to help us learn how to deploy video in a really meaningful way. And how do you grow an audience? And then how do you engage with them? And then how do you, once you have them, what do you do with them? Is the purpose just to have vanity metrics? Like, is it to see that there's X numbers of thousands of people following you?
Right.
Once you have them, are you selling them something? Are you teaching them something? Are you hooking them for something in the future? And I didn't know the answers to that. And so when I look at pieces in my business where I'm going, I'm an expert on the design. I know what I want it to look like. I know what I want it to feel like. I'm not an expert on contracts. And so now I hire someone who is, and I have them for a short period of time. I hate the idea of pivoting away from your core, even during COVID. But what I think COVID has taught us, and one of the things that I've learned is, if I double down on my competencies, who am I really? Why do I do this? What value do I add to people's lives? And are there ways to do that exist outside of their 6-hour wedding experience? And the answer is of course I can. Of course, if I designed your wedding, I can do your baby shower. Of course, I can do their first birthday. If I'm doing their first birthday and you're having a big holiday party, of course I can decorate your house for it. If I'm decorating your house for it and you now need to decorate their nursery, why couldn't I expand into those places? Why couldn't I take the relationship that I have and the quest that I'm on, which is to make the world a more beautiful place and to bend the universe to my will so that I can create an environment that feels authentic and that feels beautiful? Why am I limiting myself to 6 hours of your life when I have value that I could add in other places? It's not a pivot. I'm not a wedding planner, but I'm trying to find other ways that I can maintain these relationships, that I can continue to add value. And so I have a coach looking at that to say, where do I push? Where do I pull? Where do I expand? And where do I grow? And what areas are probably either overly saturated or not as interested, or I'm not ready. And so I think that anyone who is speaking, anyone who's teaching, anyone who's coaching should 100% have a coach of their own. It's like how a therapist has a therapist. You need that in order to keep you sharp, and also so that you don't buy into your own bullshit.
Very
like,
very
I need someone to say to me, like, what the fuck are you doing? No, don't do that. That's stupid. And then I go, oh, okay. Because otherwise you start to buy your own press, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it is very hard sometimes to see yourself objectively. So having someone from outside, I would say David is honestly my coach right now, with how we operate. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's definitely like, hey, I come to him with an idea and it's like, what do you really think about this business wise? He's like, bro, like, don't even waste your time. And it's like, dude, that's what I needed to hear. Cause I'm like, oh, maybe this is a good idea. It's like, no. So I totally see what you're saying. I think that's an excellent point. We got some comments here, David.
Yeah, I'm going to hit some of these comments.
What do we got?
Before I do that, I just want, while this is in my head, I really wanted to make sure that people really heard what you were saying and understood what you were saying, because I think that a lot of people especially in the wedding part of our space, not necessarily corporate or any of the other parts of our space, but a lot of times in the wedding part of our space, a lot of people look at a bride and groom as kind of like a one and done, like, they're not a repeat client. And we almost kind of make a joke out of the fact that they're a repeat client, like they're getting married again. Right. But I think
we've all had some of them.
Yeah. But I think you make a phenomenal point about saying, how am I able to continue this relationship with somebody who's already trusted me with arguably one of the most important days of their lives? How can I continue to do that and build, expand that relationship? And let's be honest, make money in the process. I mean, that's what the hell we're all in business for. Right. I mean, we want to have friends, but shit, we're in business to make money. Yeah. Friends don't pay bills.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer not to have too many friends personally. Right? I'm not on the friend track. Like I married my best friend who's also in in a big way my business coach who will say to me, you need to move in this direction, or why aren't you doing any more of that? But it's also something where he'll look at me and say like, okay, so you spend all this time on social and on your blog and on your YouTube, getting people interested in you, gaining a sense of having your potential customers just be aware that you exist. Because at the level of work that I do, my clients spend an average of about $2,500 to $3,000 a head. So at that price point, you can pretty much hire anyone. So you need to be aware of who I am and what I'm doing before you get engaged. Otherwise, you turn around and you go, who's the most famous wedding planner? Who's the celebrity wedding planner? Who does my venue recommend? And you just book them. So I put in all of this effort and I make all of this investment into just know that I'm out there, know that I'm an option. Then I just need 6. The business is built, and I've played with the numbers. I've gone as high as 19 a year. I've gone as low as 2. 6 allows me to be really engaged, really interested in the process, completely available to my clients, and to be wildly creative in a way that I don't think I could be if I was doing 12. I don't think I could do it if I was doing 60. Like, I just don't think that I could get there. But 6 seems to be my happy number. And then I can still do all the other work that I do. But now I have them, and now we're a year and a half in. And by the time that wedding happens, like, I'm your bestie in a box. I'm the friend that has done everything with you. You've talked to me about money. You've talked to me about your relationship. You've talked to me about your in-laws. You've talked to me about your sex life. We've gone through, I've seen you naked lots in the dressing room. And now there's this feeling, and we hit it where so many of my brides are like, so is this it? Are we done?
Right.
Yeah.
Do we still call each other? Do we still talk? And so you find yourself having friendships with people who were clients, and then as their lives progress, I make sense. It makes sense that after trusting me that with all of that 2 years later, of course I'm going to do your baby shower. Yeah. And the first few times I was asked, like, can you do this baby shower? It's like, I'm kind of expensive for a baby shower, don't you think? But no, I'm not. Not when I've seen you through your engagement party and your wedding and this. And now what is that baby shower? I'm in there surrounded with a group of women and a group of people, some of whom are going to get married, some of whom have cousins and children and nieces and all of these other people who now get to see not Andrea Light, but a different side of what I do. They get to understand who I am and how I operate in a different capacity. And so now that awareness goes up, but the trust that they have in me is exponential because I'm already vetted and used by this third party that they love. So now it becomes something where, like, oh, you know what? My girlfriend, actually, I met her wedding planner. She actually did her baby shower, and then I saw the wedding pictures, and she's really cool. You should call her. And now I'm a heritage staple. I'm a legacy, and I'm able to tell not just one story in your life. I'm able to tell this life story, and I'm able to carry an arc and carry a mood and carry a vibe and a thread through all these really important moments. But I'm also connected to the extension, to your extended friend group, to your extended family. And now when I walk into a room, I'm like, let's be very clear. I'm the help. I get that. I'm as much as you like me on the day of an event, I am the help. But it's a much easier process. There's a lot more respect if we've spent years together. If we know each other in a more intimate way, you don't ever think that I'm trying to sell you. You know that every decision I'm making is 100% in the best interest of you, your family, and the moment.
I love that. And I love how you've moved past these events as transactions. I mean, that's I mean, I'm very young in business, but I still even try to strive to,
Right.
keep up with people. I mean, and strive past to make it just a transaction, make it meaningful, understand your clients, understand
Yeah.
who they are as people, and maintain that relationship even after the event is over. So, no, awesome.
All right, let me
Awesome
get
stuff.
some of these comments because I promised I would. So we have a comment. Great points. I think it's really important to vibe, and this is great to bounce off new ideas and coaching to help grow and continue to allow the business to adapt at times and trends change. Yeah, that's a very valid point there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then we had another comment: referrals and sending them reminders that you are still in business, and happy first anniversary gift could be nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. The trust is always key to future bookings and client leads. Love this. Thank you for that comment. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Big Earn says, during the sales process in your profession, what has been your biggest objection to overcome? I'm assuming that's probably for you, Andrea. So I'll let you kind of attack that one.
So I think that one of the biggest things is when I say that, like, I set out to redefine the wedding industry in Las Vegas. 26 years ago, when I moved here, I thought that I was moving into like Rat Pack, Elvis, sexy tuxedo James Bond Vegas. But I showed up here in 1994 to like fanny pack, cooler, let's be family fun Vegas. And I was like, yeah, I don't want this. When I started my business 10 years ago, the most expensive wedding planner in Las Vegas charged about $3,500 for full planning. Wow. I could not live on that. Not the way that I wanted to. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to explore my other interests. And I wanted to be able, I looked at it and I said, there's no reason. People would say like, but Vegas can't do luxury. We built a lake in the middle of the strip. You don't think I could build you a DJ booth? Like, we have the conservatory with these thousands of pounds of flowers. It's the same people making your bouquet. So, but there was this disconnect in what Vegas was known for and what we could do in the luxury space. So it took me years. It took about 6 years to really convince people that Vegas was a destination that you could go to that wasn't cheap, wasn't cheesy, that it was very, very specifically geared to luxury. And the way that I did that was I invested my own money in my clients' weddings. So when I started, I said, okay, I understand that the people that I'm working with today are not the people that I ultimately, and no disrespect to them, but I knew I wanted to do something different. And so the first wedding, I was like, okay, so let's talk about menus. And they're like, the venue gives us menus for free. I'm like, that's printed on 8.5 by 11 regular paper that they're cutting in a thing. So I said, okay, they paid me $3,000. What if I invested 10% into the wedding? What if I took $300 of my own money and I went to a stationer who wanted to do more high-end escort cards and who wanted to do more high-end menus, and they gave me a deal and I paid for them. And sometimes I could honestly only afford to pay for it for the head table. But I went to the photographer and said, this is the shot that I need.
Right.
So that the next wedding had it in their head. And it's very kind of Seth Godin, people like us do things like this. My clients pay for upgraded stationery. And so of course you will too. And nobody wants to say no. So like, yeah, of course I'll pay for the upgraded stationery. Well, great. Now they're paying me $4,000 because the work looks like it's worth $4,000. And I'm able to take $400 and say, all right, what can I buy for $400 to make this look better? I can buy lighting. I can buy uplighting. And I constantly said, I'm always going to put 10% back in until the work looked like what I wanted to do. That was the biggest obstacle, I'd say, in the last 10 years that I've had, was convincing people that this was a market that had the competencies and that was able to do the work that they wanted and the work that I wanted to do. And you can't sell what you can't show. And so if I looked at it as a marketing expense and I looked at it as a business expense of the only way that I can teach people and the only way that I can convince them that it can be done is to do it. And I spent my own money on it. And it was, and continues to be, I always change something. And I tell my clients this, I will change something at every wedding that I do. And it's because no matter how many renderings you do, no matter how many spacewalks, no matter how many demos, you walk into the room and you go, I don't like it. Like something's not right. Maybe I need another chandelier, or you know what? We said the light was going to be purple, but the light should be pink. And I'm going to make that call because I've lived in your head for a year and I feel like I can. And if I have to throw my own money at it to make it right, I will. Fortunately, though, after 10 years, I work with teams where everybody's on the same page. We all just want to make it right. So that's the biggest hurdle. And today, I'd say the biggest hurdle is having people understand the pricing, the way that I charge, and the way that I charge, because people always ask, I charge a retainer, and so you buy one of my 6 available slots. So that's the first thing. You retain one of my 6. Then I have a percentage of all production, and then I have a labor fee for the day of. And so what happens is I get phone calls and people go, okay, I spoke to like 3 of your competitors and nobody else charges like that. And I go, okay, so first of all, you didn't speak to my competitors. You spoke to other people who do weddings.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because now's my opportunity to educate you and to see, because if you really get it, you'll care. I say, this is why I charge a retainer, and I explain it. This is why I charge the percentage, and I explain it. This is why I charge the labor fee. We talk about skilled and unskilled labor. We talk about all these things that I was able to refine by working with my own business coach, that I was taught by working with other people and through groups. And after I explain it all, I say, now here's a better question. All of these other people, have you asked why they charge what they charge? And they're like, what do you mean? And so I understand every dime that's coming into my business. I know why it's coming. I know how I've put it together. And so I can talk to you about the numbers all day. Why is this wedding planner charging you a flat fee? Or why are they only charging you this? Because my bet is they don't know. My bet is you say to somebody goes, well, I'm a wedding planner. I'll do the exact same job she'll do for $8,000. First of all, no, you won't.
Nope.
But secondly, why 8?
Why not 9?
Why not 7?
Why not, yeah. Any
why
more?
not 12? Where did you get the number from? And it's because, and they can't answer that.
Wow.
They don't understand why. So if you're going to have, if you know that price is a sticking point because you've set yourself apart and you've charged a higher number to show we are not the same, and so you have to pay me more, you better be able to talk about that number. You better know it. And I also tell them, like, hey, if your planner can't explain why they charge the way they charge, they can't explain why the DJ charges the way he charges, or why the videographer charges that way, or why the venue charges that way. You're really going to trust somebody with $200,000, $500,000, $1 million, and they don't know how they charge?
Right.
And it's a difficult conversation to have until you've had it a few times. Because I think as the creative side of us is always like, I don't know, should I say this? Is it too harsh? I don't want people to think I'm mean. But once you've gotten really comfortable, it's the best conversation that I have in the sales process.
Guys, these are straight truth bombs being dropped right now. Wow, these are legit. I mean, just the whole point about, putting a percentage, I think you said 10%, putting a percentage of the money that you make from an event into either that event or maybe the next event from a lesson you learned at that previous event. And then having the forethought, which, man, this is golden, guys. This is why I like to repeat this stuff, because I want to make sure like you guys don't miss it. Like having the forethought to get the photographer to take the right photos to use down the road and tell that story. Man, I got goosebumps just talking about it. And we had comments coming in here. You can't sell what you can't show. Love that.
Yeah.
What up, fam? Hey, whoever that is. I'm not sure.
Hey,
who that is.
Facebook user.
Yeah, it's our Facebook user, and I know this gentleman asked this question twice, so I didn't want him to think I overlooked it. And I want to touch on this really quickly, and then there's a couple things we still got to get to. Man, this is so good. You guys stick around. Keep dropping your questions, keep dropping your comments. We might end up going over our hour. Andrea, I hope you don't mind. We might end up going a little over our hour tonight because that's
all right if we go a little over.
All right, so $1 million question right here. What do planners what do planners look for in DJs? Maybe just a couple of thoughts on that if you're okay with that.
Great question.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that in any partner, I look for stability. I look for somebody who runs their business really well. I look for somebody who is engaged in the process beyond their postage stamp of the world. So I look for, in every partner that I have, can you see it from the other side? A photographer who constantly steps in front of a videographer's shot is no good to me because now I'm going to have a shit video. A DJ who switches to a slow song when the entire dance floor is packed, who can't read the room, is equally of no use to me. So like those things are the first. In terms of like on site, I always appreciate it when a DJ checks in with me when he shows up. I always appreciate it when they give me an inventory of what they have on backup. So there's a DJ that I've worked with a bunch of times out here. His name is Mike Fox, and he's such a good guy. And he's not a performance DJ. He's a straightforward, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to play, I'm going to leave. But every time he shows up, he's like, hey, just want you to know I'm here. This is what I have. In case you need it, I've also got an extra handheld mic. I've also got an extra stand. And if the photographer or the videographer need it, I've got some extension cords. That's golden to me. Like he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to look out for anybody else, but he does. Why? Because it makes me look good. And so that that means a lot to me. Just knowing that I can turn around and be like, can you help? Somebody who, DJ Nate has worked with me a bunch of times. Love Nate Nelson. Such a good guy. But like we've had situations here where we've had, I don't want to say something falls through the cracks, but where maybe somebody has fallen off a little bit. And like Nate has walked around and helped me light candles so that I could get doors open in time. Not his job to be straightening chairs and lighting candles, but he looks at me and sees she needs something, and it's outside of his set. He's not paid to do that, but he'll do anything that I need him to do to make my life easier. And at the end of the night, like I'm just like, oh my God, thank God you were here, because I was in a crunch. I painted myself into a corner, but I had the right team that helped me get out of it. In terms of how do I think that maybe the other question is like, how do I pair my clients with a DJ if I'm recommending a DJ? So one of the things that I'll do is I always talk to a couple or a client, whether it's corporate or social, and I say, what are your priorities in terms of music? Like, what do you want it to feel like? Do you want it to feel like a big, crazy dance party? Do you really want to have this like long tasting dinner where I need more background music? Do you want somebody who interacts? Like, do you want a DJ/MC? Or do you want somebody who's going to play more, almost like more nightlife style, where they're going to let the event unfold? And once I get all of those, I keep a partner compendium on my computer all the time. Every person I've ever worked with, their pros and cons, and who I think they're right for and who I think they're wrong for. Any person I haven't worked with that says like, hey, I'd really like to work with you, I want to work with them, that they send me in their information. If there's somebody that I want to work with, I add them to this. And so I've got their pricing, their travel fees, all these things. And so I'll go through and I'll say, this is what the client said. And I start hiding rows in my document until I get down to like 3 or 4. And then I typically will direct the client to their social. And I'll say, I want you to go and check out how they look on social media, because social media is social proof. If this DJ works in this venue with this planner and this photographer, like you can get a sense of who they are. And then anyone who's on like Mixcloud or any of things like that, where they're actually putting up their mixes so that people can hear how they blend songs together, I always try to send some links. And then I love when a DJ creates a BTS. So Jason Janai does this a lot. He's always got, a team doing camera and video and things like that for him. And I love being able to share some of that, because you get to see, how does he read a room? How does he change? How does he switch? Brian B is a genius at stacking, in terms of when you go to his website or his Instagram and you see, these are my dates, these are my appearances that I'm making, it makes you feel like, oh my God, I would be so lucky to be on that list. To where Brian B isn't booked to do a wedding on May 15th. Brian B is scheduled to make an appearance at this event. It's a totally different way of keying up who he is and what he does. He's not just a DJ. He's making an appearance and he's a performer. And so I'll send people this, and some people are like, yeah, I'm the show, he's not the show. No, that's not for me. Cool, he's not for you. Other people are like, oh my God, I would love to have Digital Dave. I would love to have this person. I can't wait to have so-and-so, because it makes them feel like their wedding or their baby shower or their event is a part of something bigger.
Right.
So that's pretty much how I select all of my partners, but DJs in particular, those are the things that I like to send out.
That's huge.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point.
Bigger and says working together as professionals, because we're all aiming for the same goal to make the client happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Always.
Gabriel, what's up, man? We saw you in Facebook, man. We saw you come through there.
How you doing?
We got bigger and one of the peanut butter and jelly time. Anybody that was
I don't know what that means.
So anybody who was at collective meetup in California definitely knows what that means.
I was supposed to go and I couldn't. I was so sad.
We missed you so much. We missed you.
I wanted to be there, but that was the week that my kids were going back to school, which meant they were going to their rooms.
and there's the
Big Daddy
Nate Nelson that you were talking about.
Nate Nelson. That's my man.
Thanks for checking in, Nate. Appreciate you, brother. All right, so I want to see if we can try to get to some of these things.
Sure.
We got one
Let's
more.
do it.
Hey, thanks for spending time and knowledge. Thanks for hosting.
That my Brian B.
Yeah, that's
Love
our
that
boy,
guy.
Brian.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Thanks for being
He's
on.
the best.
And Big Ernst said, I was so sad you didn't make it. All right, so let's attack these things not super quickly, but
Fire
at least quick enough. 3 ways to manage your own self-directed study.
Okay, so self-directed study is huge, because I think that the minute you stop learning, you stop, your business is dead. You just don't know it. It's a long goodbye. So self-directed study, number 1, you need to be reading. And if you can't sit with a book and read, audiobooks. But you need to be reading, and you need to be reading about people who are outside of your industry. So like I read Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, about what it took to make Nike. I'm never gonna have a sneaker, even though Nate sends me sneakers. But I'm never gonna design a sneaker, do anything like that. But getting to hear, it's almost like having a one-on-one with a person who's done something extraordinary. I read the Bezos letters, the Amazon letters. It is the first 10 letters that Jeff Bezos sat down and wrote to his board of directors and to his shareholders. This is literally the guy who created Amazon from his garage, sitting down and saying, this is what I'm thinking right now. This is what I'm feeling right now. This is what I'm looking at right now. I could never get that close to him, but I can read a book.
Yeah.
So definitely finding books and reading about businesses that are outside of your own discipline. Second thing in terms of self-directed study is I try not to look at my competitors. I try not to look at like other people's wedding websites or things like that. but I am very, very interested in reading their blogs, which I know sounds weird. Like I try to skip the galleries because I don't want to compare the pretty. I try to skip like even some of the Instagram stuff because I don't want to look at it. And especially because I built my business to do 6, sometimes I'll get that imposter syndrome. Like, did I do the right thing? They're doing 15 weddings. I'm only doing 6. Am I a loser? Am I still good at this? But I want to read their blogs where they're talking about their business, not their couples. I want to see what trends are they talking about? What are they seeing that I'm not? How are they looking at things that maybe, do I agree? Do I disagree? If I disagree, fantastic, because now I know that I'm moving in a different direction. But reading blogs from other people in the industry that you respect is huge. And then I think that I'm giving free ones because I think that free is great. We all like free. Like podcasts and YouTubes and things like this, where you can go and you can have a short, concentrated experience with somebody for free is fantastic. After that, once you've read some things that people have written, once you've heard them, once you've seen them on a podcast, you've done all that kind of stuff, then if you're able to, then you go to the next step. Then you invest in a course. Then you invest in a coaching, a 90-minute session. Then you invest in something longer. But we consume things we read them, we listen to them, we see them. And so if that's the way that it's coming, what can you read? What can you listen to? What can you look at that is so dissimilar from yours that it forces you to think about things in the opposite way? So those would be the big 3.
Yeah, those are really huge. And I think you made a great point about being careful. I just happened, as I was scrolling on Instagram earlier today, I just happened they posted a meme along the lines of saying that comparison is the thief of joy, or the thief of self-joy.
Yeah, comparison is the thief of
I
joy.
think that really kind of hits with what you're saying there. Like if you can look at what other people are doing that you're doing at a way of how can I kind of improve myself instead of saying, oh, they're doing all this and I'm not doing, like if it's a healthy observation, then I think it makes sense. But the minute you start using it as a comparison, you're heading down a dangerous path that way.
And one thing that I've noticed as well is not looking at people that are maybe right next to you in your market or even at the level that you're doing things, but look like way up. Like I look at stuff like high-end music videos, and I look at like really, really high-end wedding videos, and I'm just like inspired. You know what I mean? So I found that helps a lot too. Maybe not necessarily looking at around your level, but looking so far beyond it for inspiration.
And you make a good point, because it should inspire you. It shouldn't enrage you.
Right.
It should inspire you.
100%.
To want to ascend to whatever the next level for you is, because all of us have a different next level.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think that's huge.
Exactly.
I also think it's important to know when growth isn't the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that we all, if you look at it for long enough, like everyone's going to tell you what you should be doing, what you should be charging, how you should be doing all these things. About 10, 11 years ago, had the opportunity to do a couple of out-of-state weddings. So I already travel for speaking. I already travel for consulting. We have venues that are outside the Vegas market that my husband and I are on planes for. So now it was like, oh, cool. I can go to Mexico. I can go to New York. I can go to I can go to all these places. And isn't it cool? Isn't it fun? Isn't it sexy? I'm living out of a suitcase. Well, the truth is, it wasn't good for my kids. It wasn't good for my husband. It wasn't good for my life. And that made it not good for my business. Yeah. Because when your home life is not running well, when your kid cries because you missed something at school and they're calling you, your head's not in the game. Yeah. And the other thing I found is like, it took me, I had this catch-up period. I had this time that I had to recover. What makes me an expert in San Francisco? Not a goddamn thing. Nothing. I'm an expert in Vegas. And if I'm an expert in you as a couple, because I've done your baby shower and I've done this and I've done that and I've done all these things, and I'm an expert on you, and now I can go and give you our experience in San Francisco, that's great. But for me to just go to San Francisco to say I did a wedding in San Francisco, when everybody around me was desperate to do destination work, and everybody wanted that destination work, because the minute somebody pays to put you on a plane, well, look at that, you've made it. You have to weigh it and say, is this really who I am? Is it good for my life? Is it good for my business? Is it good for my clients? Because if you make decisions based on what's good for your clients, then what's good for your life, and then what's good for your business, you'll never be wrong. You'll always get it right. And sometimes growth in a certain direction is not the answer.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I had a very similar conversation. Shout out to Brian B. I had a really similar conversation to him about that, because he's like, Brian's like the go-to guy in the DJ industry when you want to talk anything travel and anything like, beyond your own market. And that was honestly, that was almost verbatim exactly one of the first things that he said to me is, you need to really decide, is this, it all sounds sexy and fun and cool, but does it really fall in line with who you are and what you are, and so on and so forth?
And why? And why? Like, you have to understand why. Like, why do you really want to do it? I mean, is it for the look, or is it because you genuinely it connects with you? It connects with your, as you were saying earlier, like it connects with your vibe, like your marketing and that kind of stuff, for sure. So talk a little bit about, because I think I heard you mention, you actually mentioned coach and consultant kind of in that conversation. And I know sometimes people get clouded with
the difference,
the same thing. So just a little bit, your thoughts on the difference between a coach versus a consultant.
So a coach is for you. A coach is for somebody to come in and pull things out of you as an individual and as a creative. Do you have limiting beliefs that are stopping you from going to the next level? Do you have something in your head that, like a switch, that needs to be turned on or off? Have you made a wrong decision? Are you making decisions that are well thought out? It's almost like a therapist. So when I have somebody come to me and they say, like, I was wondering if I could get you to come in as a consultant, I'm like, do you need a coach or do you need a consultant? Because a consultant comes into your business. And when I'm consulting for a business, it's an incredibly unemotional, very cerebral experience where I'm looking at the business and I'm saying, okay, what are the goals of the business? Is it a revenue goal? Is it a volume goal? Is it a press goal? What are we trying to do? And I'm retrofitting the steps and the things that I need to do to get the business there. And I don't have an emotional, there's less of an emotional investment because the business is a thing. And the thing either works or it doesn't. When I'm coaching, it's a much more kind of like heart experience. It's much more like, tell me about you. Why do you want to do this? Why are you struggling with this? Do you really want it, or do you think you want it?
Right.
Or did somebody tell you that you should want it? What would it look like if you made a different decision? Let's play these things out. And so and then sometimes in coaching, it's teaching a little piece of technical information, like, well, let me teach you how to time batch so that you can get more done in the day. Let me teach you how you can schedule social media differently. Let me teach you how you can edit your own BTS video. Those are little tasks, but the coaching is really so much more about personal growth so that you can bring that to your business. Whereas a consultant is just looking at the business in very, very paper and pen terms and saying, this is what the business needs. How do we get there? And so we actually do both. Our business is broken down into a couple of different things. There's Andrea Eppolito events, which are my 6 signature wedding and events that I do every year. There's Andrea Eppolito education and consulting, where it is coaching, it's courses, books, and coaching. And then the consulting, the business consulting, we run through the Tony Fisher Group. And that's my husband's business. And he has been in hospitality, restaurants, nightlife, hotels. He's older, but for a long time. I'm like, I can probably see him coming around the stairs being like, shh. But he's been doing this for over 30 years. I've been doing it for over 20. And so sometimes it's a venue that comes to us and says, we're not really sure how to deploy social media, or we've been doing all these things, we're not getting the ROI that we need. And that's something where we literally just take the business apart and we put it back together. I don't think all businesses need a consultant. I think if your business is doing really well and the business is humming, then you bring in a consultant for 30, 60, 90 days to fix a very specific problem. But I think that it's always helpful for people to have a coach, because you need somebody that, like you guys said, steps back and looks and goes, wait a minute, why are we on this track? What if we get off? And even if it's somebody that you only talk to once a month, just to check in, just to be able to say, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm struggling, this is where I'm succeeding. So, I mean, think about it. How often do you celebrate, like, unadulterated, no holding back, your success with your peers? Probably not a lot.
Yeah, probably
very
rarely.
Yeah, very little.
Because nobody wants to feel like they're showing off, especially now. Nobody wants to feel like they're rubbing it in. Nobody wants to feel like, you almost feel like when somebody gives you a compliment, oh, that's great. And you're like, yeah, you know what, though, we had a couple of issues. It's also a place where you can go and you can really celebrate the success, because the success is the point. Getting to the place of happiness, getting to the place of fulfillment, getting to the place of knowledge is the entire point of a coach. And so a coach wants nothing more than to see you succeed. Right. And having somebody whose sole purpose and existence is to see you happy and to see you do well, when it might be the only person in your circle that truly has no agenda, is pretty invaluable. And so I have a coach. I also have a team of girls that I've built, and guys too, but like specifically this one group of girls that we've come together and we've really just said, like, we're going to make a commitment to each other that we're going to meet once a month, and it's going to be no bullshit, no lying, no holding back, there are trade secrets. People are like, we shouldn't talk about trade secrets, but what trade secret do you have?
Yeah.
You don't have one. And if you do, and you're not sharing it, you're a dick. Right. So like, there's no reason. There is no secret. It's just information. It's how you use it. And so if you are in a position where you're like, God, I wish I had a coach, but I can't really afford one, because coaching is, $750 to $2,000 an hour. It's not cheap. Right. If you're like, I can't afford that, find somebody that you respect and that you trust and say, how can we do this together? Wow. Or find a coach that you really, really want and say, I'm going to do this once every 6 months. Just once every 6 months, I just want 90 minutes, or I just want 2 hours. And of course, like, I'm a better coach when I have more interaction with your life, when I'm able to be with you more often, when I'm able to learn more. But if it's the 90 minutes that we spend together, I probably spend 2 days prepping for those 90 minutes, looking at your social, looking at your blogs, looking at your website, listening to whatever you've done, tracking where you've been, because I want to be prepared and I want to be valuable when you get those 90 minutes with me. So those 90 minutes that you get FaceTime may have taken me 3 days to prep for. But even if you just do it twice a year, have a person and a place where you can go and be 100% honest, where you hide nothing.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, really great points.
Man, I mean, just one more point I would like to add to that. I mean, you talked about friends and stuff like that. I mean, your friends have their own personal agenda for you, right? I mean, and they're invested in different ways. And sometimes I feel like there can be insecurities there on their behalf where it's like, man, I really can't be happy for you because I'm not even happy with myself. So that's where a coach, I think, maybe takes out some of the subjectivity of it and makes it more objective, as David has definitely done for me, where it's like, I can look at this and I can tell you, man, you're killing it, or no, you're not really doing it, versus like, oh, I'm insecure in myself right now, and man, I can't really be happy for this person right now because I got my own.
But you're also not competitors.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Like,
that's why we work.
Yeah. That's what makes our relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going up. You're not losing business to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
A DJ is never going to lose business to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think Nate brings a good point up here. People are scared to share their sauce. Sauce is sauce. No one can be you. I
That's
mean,
100%.
that's like,
Well, I don't know.
like
Is it sauce or is it gravy, Nate?
oh, look at there.
See?
Well, one of the things too that you mentioned, Andrea, that I think is really worth kind of noting is understanding whether you need a coach or whether you need a consultant.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might need a coach before you get a consultant, because if the problem of your business is really you need to fix that.
If you're the issue,
right?
Yeah.
Like you need to fix that first,
Yeah.
and then the consultant. And then I think you also brought up another good point about, especially right now where people maybe are not working as often as they have been, and maybe finances are not where you want them to be. And I think that's going to kind of move us right into our final point, which is, look into people that you look up to, people that you see doing what you want to do, and don't be afraid to just reach out to that person and say, hey, listen, I don't even know if you'd be willing to do this, but I'd love to learn from you a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd love to kind of just pick your brain a little bit. And, if it's somebody local, maybe but don't always do the old, hey, can I take you out for coffee and sit down and pick your brain for it? Like,
Right.
be real about why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Be upfront about why you're doing it. Like, look, I admire you. I appreciate what you're doing. I feel like I could learn something from you if you would be willing to sit down and talk to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would love to. I'd love to have that opportunity,
Yeah.
and then also be able to potentially accept a negative response with grace. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're just not interested. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But if they don't agree to it, don't be like, well, you're an asshole, F you, blah blah
Right.
blah.
I got a you're an asshole email today.
Yeah,
I had somebody reached out and said, like, hey, I'd love to take you to lunch. I've got all these things I can offer you. I've got all these great things. I'm limiting my in-person interactions right now. I've got kids, I've got COVID, I've got all these things. I wrote back, I was like, hey, loved your website, loved your social. This is super awesome. I would love to be able to continue down this path. Number one, I don't have anything right now for you, business-wise. And number two, I'm limiting my interactions. So let's do this. Let's continue to build our digital relationship. And then once I have something, I'd love to set it up. And I got an email back that was like, wow, you're supposed to be the best. You're not very enterprising. I'll take my services somewhere else. I was like, dude, absolutely, you should. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But the other thing is and I think about this all the time, things that I look at my business and I know what I need. And it's so funny because people have offered all sorts of things. You know what I need? I need a custom trailer for my YouTube channel. I don't have one. I don't have a lead-in compilation of videos that goes into my YouTube. And this isn't soliciting. Nobody has to offer me one for free.
This guy could probably do
I'm
that.
not saying. I don't have a custom song. Like, I don't have a custom mix that plays, that leads in to my videos. I don't have, like, I look at my own business and I go, okay, if somebody wanted to trade an hour of time, if somebody said, like, hey, I'll give you this for that, how could you be beneficial? Like, you want something from me. You want my time, you want my energy, you want my expertise, you want all these things. You can't pay money. Can you dedicate 2 days into looking at someone's business and saying to them, like, hey, I noticed that you don't have an intro. I'm not in a position to pay you whatever it is that you're worth. But how about this? I'd really love to create 3 intros for you in exchange for. Or, I checked out your website and it's really cool and it looks really great. And if you did absolutely nothing to it, you would be fine because obviously you're killing it as it is. But maybe having a piece that I could write about this would be helpful. Like, anything that you can look at somebody else's business and say, how can I add value to them outside of just the money? What can I give them? What can I do to maybe foster this relationship? I would love that. And we talked about it off the air. I had a guy reach out to me once and he's like, hey, I'm probably not on your radar. Truth be told, he wasn't. He said, I'm a videographer. I don't work at your level. I just want to understand. I want to understand why you're different. I want to understand why your partners are different. I want to understand all these things. I'd love to take you to lunch and figure out if there's a hole that you need filled. And I had a hole. That sounds, oh God. I was going to say I had a hole and he filled it. But in my business, I had an opportunity. I had something I wanted to do. And he was able to step in and do it. I paid him money because I don't think that we should, I think that that's a big deal. He learned a lot. I learned a lot. It was for my BTS videos. The BTS video that he created for me was the thing that I used to sell my next 3 $500,000 clients. Other planners saw the BTS videos and he sold like 10 of them. So we both learned, we both benefited. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the win-win. You're looking for a way to make everyone better.
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah.
awesome.
And if you hear that clickety clack, that's my puppy.
It's a cute dog, by the way. We saw.
I'm like, do you hear that?
That's okay.
He's-
That's perfectly fine.
He's like, are you done yet?
I think moving into kind of our final topic that we kind of had listed for the night, and I think if everything else that we've talked about is still too much, and it's understandable for a lot of people, it really is. Another great option could be to look at putting together like a think tank, putting together. I think you mentioned like a group of ladies that you all get together, and that's kind of that same concept of a think tank where get together with some like-minded people, get together with people that are not going to blow smoke up your ass and talk about rainbows and unicorns the whole time, but they're actually going to like give it to you like it is. And they're actually going to help you grow, which is what you want in all of this. I know that's something that's been advantageous for you a lot as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been, especially with like the BBC, because we're from all over the country. And so we're not face-to-face competition, but really also just connecting. I go to a lot of conferences, and so I get to meet people who operate from around the world. And Vegas is Vegas, but it's still a small market. So being able to find somebody that you have a vibe with and that you connect with, that cares about you and is not threatened by you and you're not threatened by them, that you don't have any of that. There's no underlying like bullshit, has been huge. And I love like Brian B. He and I have called each other for bunches of things. Like lots of times he'll text me and be like, hey Dre, can I run something by you? And I'm like, yeah. Or I'll call him and be like, hey, I've got an idea. It's probably useless, but I need somebody that I respect that is not judging me person or me as a professional. They're judging the idea. And we've run things by each other and both been like, oh, that's really cool. Or I don't know, we should question that one. Having those people that are just outside but that you really trust is a really big deal. I think that people say like, I don't know how to do that. How do you get there? You get there by never ever violating the trust. I will never repeat something that somebody says to me in confidence. It's never gossip. It's never industry fodder. It's never, oh my God, you're not going to believe what this idiot just fucking asked me. Like that doesn't happen. And it's making sure that the other people don't do that back. It's making sure that you have a really safe space. And that just happens over time. That happens over testing the waters. And it also happens, I think now it starts online. It starts by engaging with somebody's content in a very consistent way over and over again. It's about sharing their content so that you can borrow from each other's audience and you're helping to establish them as an expert. It's about making not just like cool picture or gorgeous couple. It's about looking at their Instagram and reading their comment and making thoughtful commentary. Or giving great feedback. I remember I gave a presentation once and Brian and Jason were in it. And afterwards, Brian texted me and he was like, oh, great content, great this. I've got some feedback for you afterwards. And like on the inside, I liquefied. I was like, oh my, what did I do? How bad could it be? And he was like, hey, just from the back of the room, that font's a little bit difficult to read, like the colors. I was like, oh my God, so it wasn't my content. He's like, no, but I looked at it and I went back and I watched the video and I was like, yeah, that's a good catch. He didn't owe me that feedback. He didn't have to, because that's a vulnerable thing to do, to say to somebody, I have a way to improve, and to know that somebody's open to it. But when I looked at it, what did it do? It made me better.
Right.
And I appreciate that. So I will always be that person for him. And that has expanded now into our relationship here with me and the two of you. And then with a lot of the people that are in the community that are watching. I mean, Digital Dave and I text on the regular.
Yeah.
Nate and I, Nate's wife and I send each other Instagram messages about the kids. That's what we're here for. We're not just here to make our clients' lives better. It should be about making our partners' lives better and really making sure that we're in it for everybody.
Right.
And we're not just here to get business from each other.
They're
all
legitimate,
the time, right?
real connections.
Yeah, there has to be that human connection too.
Yeah.
It's not just what can you do for me? What can you do for me? What can you do for me? Without that human connection, it's like why even bother?
Right.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the check is cashed, and it's like, if I don't want to know you after that, like I want to know if you're having a bad day when you show up. I want to know if something's going on in your life, because that's how we create trust. That's how we create our bonds within the industry and within each other's businesses. That's how you know that when you're in the weeds, you look to the left or the right and you're a team.
Right.
Right.
So,
and I really feel like how it allows you to be more creative too. Like it really does help you, hey, let me try this idea, or let me try that. Like you were mentioning that earlier, right? Let me go ahead and try, or how would this camera shot look, or how would this shot look? And I can bounce those ideas off you because we've built that relationship, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about the transaction anymore.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Give a shout out to Lincoln checking in with us. Our
Lincoln?
buddy from
what's up, Lincoln?
This is our buddy from Hawaii, man. I keep trying to figure out a way that we can get out to Hawaii and hang out with Lincoln, man. He's good people.
Yeah.
Big Earn says it's definitely not all rainbows and sunshine. You're right about
so.
that, buddy. All right, so let's jump into a little bit of fun before we get out of here. So if you guys look down at the very bottom of our deal here, it says powered by Poddex. These are our friends at Poddex, and we always have fun with these, Andrea. So we're just going to ask some questions to you and to each other and to the people watching as well. Of course, you guys that are still hanging in with us. So
appreciate it.
Almost an hour and 30 minutes tonight, man. This is awesome. Thank you guys for hanging in there. So we're just going to have some fun with these questions, and feel free. Big Earn is already going to, I know he's already typing it right. Yep.
I didn't know we had a Q&A. We keep it PG? No.
I know.
What are you new
this
here?
is what I was about to say. I knew Big Earn was going to ask this question as he was typing it. Man, you do not have to keep it PG.
are not.
I don't care. Okay. All right, Nick, you ready to go? You want me to
Let's go? Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Let's see. He said, my dude said, I want more. Big no, hell no, I'm not new. He knows that, right? All right, so you ready? Here's my first question.
Yeah.
Andrea, I'll ask you, and then we'll keep it open to the audience.
Okay,
of course,
I didn't know this was happening, so we're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun, though. I promise you. All right, if they were going to name a street sign after you, what would the name be?
One way.
There it is.
That's an awesome answer.
One way. What about you, Nick?
Caution.
Caution.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
All right. What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
If they were to name a street after me, what would it be called? I don't know.
See,
says,
don't
slippery when wet.
Okay, so these are not street names; these are caution signs.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So none of us actually had a street name. We all just had signs.
You go.
If you could bring one, I already said that one in the previous episode. That's a weird one. All right. What nickname have you been called that you hate?
What nickname have you been called that you hate? My dad used to call me Dink, and I never really understood
Dink?
why he called me Dink, like D-I-N-K, Dink.
Like I'm gonna dink something?
Yeah,
off of
probably.
You?
I don't know. I don't know, but I always
Do you
wondered
know where
why he
that
called me
came from?
I don't. I need to ask my dad actually, because I really don't know. But it was just a weird name, I thought.
Mine would. Andrea. Yeah, Andrea, go for it.
No, I'm still thinking. Do it.
Okay. Well, I got one. I had a coworker who used to call me Stick, and it used to piss me off. But I mean, I've accepted.
Are you skinny?
Yeah,
I'm like, are you really skinny?
I'm not like emaciated, but I mean, like, I mean, I'm definitely on the smaller side of the human population, but I've accepted myself now, so that kind of stuff doesn't really bother me anymore. Yeah, Stick. He used to just do it like to just twist the knife, and I was just like, come on, man, like seriously.
Like, why you gotta do that?
Pinhead, Dad.
Pinhead.
Oh, great, love that one.
Jeez.
I had my first job in Vegas, and they called me Yorkie.
Yorkie?
Because I was from Long Island. My dad was Brooklyn, but I had this, and they were like, you yap like one of those little dogs, and I was like, ew.
Wow. But are you really from Long Island?
I am. I'm from Long Island originally.
Whereabouts?
Holbrook.
Oh, okay.
Patchogue-Sable area.
My family is from Smithtown.
I was born in Smithtown.
Oh, cool.
In the hospital. And there was the Smith Haven Mall. Yep. It's the middle of nowhere. You make a left and it's all right there. So, yeah, I mean, I was on Long Island alone until I was 12. And then from 12 till 17, I was bi-coastal between New York and LA. And then I moved to Vegas when I was 17. So it's, yeah. But I go back all the time.
Was that like 10 years ago?
No, 26 years ago. It has been a long time.
All right, is it my turn?
What else we got?
All right, oh, hold on. I was Big Worm for a while too.
Big Worm.
I don't hate Big Worm.
It makes sense. Yeah, it's actually kind of cool.
It's a good
one.
I
get it. It's like somebody was drunk and instead of Big Worm, they said Big Worm.
Yeah.
And it just okay.
So here we go. What is something you believe in that others think is not real?
You can say it one more time.
What is something that you believe in that others think is not real?
Election fraud. And everybody is gone.
Bomb dropped.
Oh, there goes our audience. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it. I love it.
I would say lizard people. I'm just kidding.
You believe in lizard people? Oh my god.
I'm totally kidding.
That's so funny.
Area 51 out in Vegas. I'm just kidding.
Do you believe in Area 51?
Kinda.
I do. Why not?
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see it.
Big Ern says the Force.
Yeah.
The Force is strong
he was
with
just
that one.
He was just in Disney.
Yeah, he was.
That's awesome.
The Force is strong with that one. Wondering
if you would go there. Yes, I went there. Of course I went there.
I'm glad you did.
I think that censorship is real. I think that deep state is real. I think that conspiracy theories are real. I think aliens are real.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't be. Like, we've got to be a bunch of assholes to really think we're the only ones out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how self-centered are we?
Right.
But yeah, when you said that, my first thought was election fraud.
I love it. I love it. You got one? All right, we're going to do one more each, and then we're going to let you go.
Right.
Thank you for sticking around with us. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I love you guys.
What if you were a villain or criminal mastermind, what would be your calling card?
First of all, like, who have you been talking to? What have you heard?
Do you know something?
Like, what kind of crime would I do, or what would
if you were just an evil villain or criminal mastermind, what would your calling card be? Like, what would they know you for?
You would never know it was me.
That's awesome. I love that.
There would be none.
Genius.
No, I'm way too good at this.
Like the unknown known.
That was a phenomenal answer. Yeah, the unknown known. Like, yeah,
I think that's a good one.
That's it. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Right.
What would yours be?
David.
Me? You know me, man. I like sharks, right? So it would have to be something to do with sharks, like maybe, like Super Fast Man or some shit like that, where I'm just like doing shark shit all day.
Yeah.
Like that would be my thing.
That's fair.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you could live in somebody else's body for 24 hours, whose would it be?
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
That's a great question.
If you could live in somebody else's body for 24 hours, whose would it be?
I would say mine would probably be, funny answer. Like, no, well, I would probably say like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates. Just to see what that process is like on a daily basis. Like, what exactly are you doing every single day that gets you to that point in life? Because I think it's incredible.
Yeah, That's a tough call.
Yeah.
You know,
You have no answer.
I think I would pick. This is so dumb, but it's just me being me. Like, there's this guy that I'm totally intrigued with on Facebook that does these. Not in that way, Andrea. No, he does these videos. He has this snake place.
You're not helping yourself.
I know. He has this snake place in. Hard to keep it clean. You're right about that, Big Earn. He has this like reptile place in California, and he does these videos where he's always like trying to get these big ass pythons off of the eggs they just laid, and these fucking things are striking at them nonstop and everything. And I just think it would be cool to be a part of that. Michael Jordan said no. I just think it would be cool to be part of like that adrenaline of those big ass snakes coming at you like they do at that guy all the time. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but I think that would be cool.
It's kind of cool. Michael Jordan, be the poster back there.
Michael Jordan's a good one.
He's a legend. Yeah. I'm fascinated with the elite. Like what makes like you the best at
pursuit
something.
of excellence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Probably the dude that writes the
Bro, Ern is always
there's one guy in a room writing
he's like, and he's like handwriting them with like old pencils and shit. No, it's like chiseling them on the
it's
paper.
Like ink.
That's so funny. All right, one last one. Here we go. All right. So everybody gets to.
It's just one guy. He's doing all of them.
One guy. Just one Chinese guy with a quill pen.
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing is he's probably not even Chinese. That's probably the funny part.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably like
he's like Puerto Rican.
He lives in Utah.
Right? He's actually Big Earn.
It's Big Earn. It's me. I'm the fortune cookie guy.
Right, here we go. If the world is flooding and you must build an ark, which 3 animals are you saving?
Oh, dude, easy. Can I go?
You go.
Okay. Go.
The honey badger.
We knew you were going to say that.
Sharks.
Okay, thank you.
For you.
And pythons. Done.
Look at you. Do you have a reason behind those?
The honey badger. Going to eat the honey badgers.
Wow. Well, we'll keep him. We'll keep it one below deck, one on. The shark will just kind of swim around the arc. It'll be fun. No, the honey badger because he doesn't give a shit.
Right.
Sharks because they swim around and do shark shit.
Yeah.
And pythons because they're not afraid to just mess someone up.
Eat you?
I love it.
I'm the honey badger, definitely.
All right, Andrew.
And I'm a shark.
Yeah.
So actually, the shark is my spirit animal because if it stops moving, it dies.
Mm-hmm.
And so a shark never actually stops moving.
Right.
And I think it's the only way that I've managed to exist in my as a person. Is that I've always just kind of figured you just keep going because you can't beat someone who won't quit. There's a relentlessness, and I love that about sharks. If I had to save 3 animals, bulldogs. I'm allergic to them, but I'm obsessed with them. So I have one now. I've had one before. I don't care how many hives I get. They're amazing. Spider monkeys.
Ooh, yes.
I had a pet spider monkey when I was a kid. It was awesome.
That was awesome.
Can I eat it? Is the animal for eating or just for saving?
It is your world.
That's a fair point. I mean, you may have to have one for consumption, so that could.
Because I'm do I bring a pig?
That's a good
idea. Pork chops.
Yeah.
Or do I bring a hummingbird because they're cute? I don't know, but I definitely have a monkey and a bulldog with me, and maybe cats because they don't give a fuck.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Love that.
There you go. All right, we have taken up so much.
We have gone into the ridiculousness.
Yeah, yes. But let me just say, I cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight. This has
such
been
a pleasure.
Absolutely invaluable, and I really think that the hardest part about tonight's show is for those of you who don't know this, Nick takes this show and pulls out 3 or 4 or 5 really, really good bullet points for us to share later on. And you guys can catch those, by the way, on our Instagram account. Shameless plug if you're not following us on Instagram. I think the most difficult part about tonight, there's a dog. He's going to be pulling those clips out because there was so much value.
This is the beast.
Oh,
look at the beautiful dog. Oh,
so cute.
So cute.
And if there were any questions that you guys got sent in that didn't get answered, shoot them over to me on email. Yeah. It might take me a day or so, but I'll respond to all of them and you can put them up.
Will do.
Appreciate it so much.
Well, everybody who's on watching with us, thank you as always. We appreciate you guys. Oh, I didn't even realize you spelled my name wrong, but thank you for correcting that, Big Ring. Hey, tune in next week, you guys. We're going to have another great show for you guys. We're going to sign off here. Andrea, we're going to keep you, if you don't mind, in the dog
Absolutely.
for a moment or so. But
He's
thank
been
you guys.
so sad for an hour and a half.
You guys have an awesome week. Keep your heads up. If you need anything, we're here for you. We love you guys to death. That's what we do this because we care about you and we want to see you get to the other side of everything that's going on right now with your businesses and see you thrive. So please reach out to us.
That's it.
Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate it, guys.
We'll talk to you guys soon.